Not about the country not being, not waking up. One is the denial, that you're not ready to believe that something like this has happened and you didn't even know about it. That's one aspect, that's disbelief. The other part is that the counter narrative has been so long and so far pushed so strongly that you are unwilling to believe that this is actually the truth and what you were thinking all this while was actually false. So that's the other part where somebody is unable to get out of that inertia and say, listen, I have to unlearn what I have learned because this is the truth. Amit Malviya, please come in, and then I'll go back to Vivek Agnihotri. Amit Malviya, you said that this is a civilizational battle. Yes, it is. But why are we waking up and realizing this now when Sartan se Juda has left Srinagar and now gone down to Bhagyanagari?
Look, Anand, this is a very deep-rooted problem, and we as a country must not forget that India was partitioned purely on religious lines because a certain community believed that they could not live in a Hindu majority country. Yet, the polity of that time chose to undermine the reasons why we were partitioned, and our politics went into a direction that made us pacifists as a country. We are talking about Kashmir here, but do you know West Bengal, for instance, does not celebrate its formation day? Why? Because West Bengal was formed purely or carved out of what is now Bangladesh to protect the Hindu Bengali community. Yeah. And the politicians there, the Congress, then the Communists, and now the TMC, refuses to acknowledge the very reason why West Bengal was formed or carved out, because it doesn't suit their politics. It's the same case with Kashmir. For a very long time, we were not even willing to acknowledge the problem in Kashmir. And let me say this unequivocally on your program, that this was about establishing Nizam-e-Mustafa in the valley. It wasn't about Azadi, it wasn't about autonomy, it wasn't about self-rule, because the Indian government was in fact treating Kashmir with kid gloves. But it was eventually about imposing an Islamist doctrine, a regime that would run on Islamic principles, and that is why this genocide was perpetrated. Now, the Kashmir Valley has seen several such genocides, but this is the most recent and the most horrific one. Particularly, it happened in a democratic republic where politicians sitting in Delhi soar by principles of secularism and so on and so forth. Yet they chose to look the other way because the aggressors were from the Muslim community, and those at the receiving end were the Hindus, who are minority in the valley. Now, if you look at the history of Valley and why I call it a civilizational battle, Kashmir in many ways has nurtured the Indic thought. Whether it is the Shaivite movement or, there have been intellectual movements that have emanated from there. The knowledge stream has emerged from Kashmir, and so it has a very prominent space in the entire Indic narrative, so to say. And there was an attempt to deny all of it. There was an attempt to perhaps even obliterate all of it. And it was done systematically because people did not find it convenient to raise issues that were important. And what we see today in terms of these barbaric slogans and killing in the name of religion that is sort of sweeping the country right now is going to take us in a similar direction if we do not act now. Imposing burqa on unsuspecting young girls. I've seen that happen in Valley. Girls as young as 4-5 years wear burqa. It's really not about choice. But that is the debate that you see in Karnataka today. Yes. And clearly these are young brainwashed girls who are falling prey to the religious doctrine that is being sought to be established in at least pockets of this country. And they are very ably supported by those who believe in a communist worldview, which somehow seems to use the Islamists as cannon fodder in their fight against dismembering India. And this is what happened in 1947 when the communists used the Muslim community as their foot soldiers to dismember India, create Pakistan and what is now Bangladesh. It continued after that, the 71 war in Bangladesh, the genocide that started in Kashmir Valley, and the radicalization that we are seeing in states like Kerala, Tamil Nadu, parts of Karnataka. And one last point, Anand here. This entire idea of blasphemy is alien to India. And let me forewarn the people the pitfalls of where we could land up. Today in Pakistan, Muslims are using the blasphemy law against the Muslims to settle personal scores. It has become the most notorious law or statute in their books because nobody can oppose it. The judge would not opine the other way. The facts are always convoluted to make it look like blasphemy, and it has acquired a monstrous proposition. We can't allow that to happen in a plural, secular, democratic India. And it requires not just the non-Muslim community to wake up to the menace, but also the Muslim community, because they'll be the first ones to be targeted. Their women will be the first one to be targeted. Their young kids will be radicalized and used as cannon fodder in the name of jihad or religion or whatever you will. And they will end up falling behind the rest of the society on educational parameters, on social indices, on general acceptability in the society, and you will end up creating a ghetto which will be completely unsustainable.
So, but what are you going to do about it? That's the larger question, because this has been allowed to perpetrate. The other aspect is that, is it inconvenient for the human rights activists to talk about Hindu killings? Vivek Agnihotri ji, why is this that this massacre is not talked about? Why is this that this is not headlined?
See, mostly people try to be politically correct, but let me tell you something very bluntly, and I'm saying it on the basis of facts and evidences. What has happened is, since the discovery of oil in the Middle East and with the coming money, and after 9/11, what happened was that Middle East, especially these oil-rich countries, they pumped in lots and millions and billions of dollars in image correction. And therefore they lobbied and they have funded right from New York Times. I was there. Qatar had given $50 million to New York Times. And so they have politicians in US, UK, media, everywhere. And they coined Islamophobia as a political weapon to shut up people. Now, because of that, what has happened, because these wokes and the seculars of India follow the Western model, they are compelled, and I'm sure lots of people are on the payrolls and they have been paid lobbying monies. Otherwise, why? Give me one reason. Why would anybody deny that?
Right.
It's impossible. Why would a filmmaker, a director would say that Kashmir files specifically must not be shown to the world, because if it goes to Oscars, then the whole world sees it? Why? There must be a compelling reason. So that is one aspect of it. The lobbying and the money of Gulf is stopping people from let this truth come out. Second thing I want to tell you, what is the problem with this country? I think India, please, if I'm saying anything which is politically wrong or which is going to hurt people, please stop me, because I don't know what is correct and what is incorrect to speak on it. The biggest problem is Khilafat movement. With Khilafat, the movement, Gandhi ji gave approval to Khilafat movement. Malviya Massacre, the genocide happened, where they cut the heads of Hindus who were not ready to convert and threw them in the well. Because of that, direct action they took place. The Calcutta killings took place. And now what we are seeing is, and how I realized Khilafat 2.0, when Delhi Shaheen Bagh was happening at that time, in Aligarh Muslim University's walls, it was written Khilafat 2.0, Khilafat 2.0. In fact, they also held a symposium which was called Khilafat 2.0.